1929, the untold story of the greatest crash in Wall Street history. In 1929, America believed it was unstoppable. Sorkin asks a powerful question. Could the crash have been prevented? His answer is yes. If greed had been controlled, if warnings had been taken seriously, and if long-term stability mattered more than short-term profits, the crisis could have been avoided. But, as Hemingway wrote, bankruptcy happens gradually, then suddenly. Confidence disappears the same way. The stock market was rising to unbelievable heights. Fortunes were being created overnight, and millions of ordinary people were convinced that prosperity would last forever. But behind the excitement, behind the parties and celebrations, a silent disaster was forming, one that would shatter the entire nation. This is the story Andrew Ross Sorkin tells in his book 1929, Inside the Greatest Crash in Wall Street History. It is not just a book about numbers. It is a dramatic human story about ambition, greed, fear, and the moment confidence collapsed, gradually and then suddenly. Before the crash, America was booming. New technologies like automobiles, radios, and electricity were spreading fast. Companies were expanding at record speed. Ordinary workers were buying stocks for the first time. Newspapers called it the beginning of a new economic era. But beneath the surface, serious problems were growing. Banks were weak and poorly regulated. The Federal Reserve was new and inexperienced. Margin debt was exploding, allowing people to buy stocks with money they didn't have. And optimism was turning into blind speculation. Throughout the spring and summer of 1929, a few economists warned that the market was dangerously inflated. But most people ignored them. President Hoover declared that the economy was fundamentally sound. Newspapers mocked anyone who doubted the boom. No one wanted the good times to end. By September, the stock market reached its highest point in history. Investors crowded into brokerage houses. Stocks with no real profits were skyrocketing. It felt like easy money would last forever. But fear was silently building. Companies were hiding financial problems. Banks were struggling with liquidity. And the Federal Reserve started debating interest rate hikes. Then came the turning point. October 24, 1929, Black Thursday. At 10 a.m., the selling began. Slowly at first, then violently. Prices collapsed in minutes. Phones rang non-stop. Brokers panicked. The ticker tape fell hours behind. Crowds gathered outside the New York Stock Exchange. Some cried, some screamed. Some lost everything they had in a single morning. Bankers from J.P. Morgan rushed in and bought millions in blue-chip stocks to stabilize the market. For a short moment, it worked. But the collapse of confidence was too deep to fix. Over the next days, the market continued to fall. Banks failed. Companies collapsed. Millions of families watched their life savings disappear. The crash triggered something far worse. The Great Depression. From 1930 to 1933, the United States went through its darkest economic period. Thousands of banks closed. Millions of people became unemployed. Farmers lost their land. Businesses shut down. Families stood in long lines outside soup kitchens. The American dream felt like it had died. President Hoover tried to calm the nation, but nothing worked. In 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt took office and introduced major reforms: banking regulations, deposit insurance, and new financial rules that reshaped America. Laws like the Glass-Steagall Act were created to prevent another disaster. At the end of the book, Sorkin asks a powerful question. Could the crash have been prevented? His answer is yes. If greed had been controlled, if warnings had been taken seriously, And if long-term stability mattered more than short-term profits, the crisis could have been avoided. But, as Hemingway wrote, bankruptcy happens gradually, then suddenly. Confidence disappears the same way. The story of 1929 is not only history, it is a warning. Financial bubbles still happen. People still ignore danger when times are good. And as long as greed and speculation exist, another crash is always possible. Thank you for listening to this summary of 1929 by Andrew Ross Sorkin. If you want more powerful book summaries, follow our channel, Read in 10, for weekly content and deep insights into the world of books, economics, and history.